Why?
Well, tonight I don't think I need the gavel since everyone is patiently waiting and quiet. So I'll just say good evening and call this meeting of the Southfield Board of Education to order. This meeting is a meeting of the Southfield Board of Education in public for the purposes of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in your agenda, item number 7. Will we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Trustee Smith, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My name is Rance Williams, and I'm the president of the board.
Yolanda Charles, Vice President.
Betty Robinson, Secretary.
Michael Poole, Board Treasurer.
Nathaniel Lewis, Board Trustee.
Daryl B. Joyce, Board Trustee.
Leslie Love Smith, Trustee.
Danae Spears, Student Representative.
Ariel Ginyard, Student Representative.
Royal Bird, Student Representative, University.
Brianna Boyd, Student Representative, Southfield High School.
Linda Wood, Superintendent.
Kate Dankovich, Director of Finance.
Vicki Hall, Associate Superintendent of Human Resources.
Derek Lopez, Associate Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction.
And we have working for our audio and video from M1 Studios, Mike Madigan, Marlita Gamble, and Jeff Wolker. We also have taking minutes tonight, Ms. Nicole Christian and Ms. Paulette Anderson working our video screens in any form of presentation that we may have. At this point, I will turn this portion of the meeting over to Dr. Wood.
Good evening, everyone. And I just want to start out by saying that we started on a very significant journey this year as we moving down the pathway of Imagine 2020 and the bringing together of tremendous students from Southfield High and Southfield Lathrop. And to the parents in the audience, I just have to say I am so proud of your child. I am so proud of our students, the 42 student ambassadors who have been joining myself, Dr. Lopez, Jackie Robinson, and counselors in the district to move forward with an initiative that is so dear and so important for the Southfield Public School District, for the city of Southfield, and for the future of our community. And parents and board, I just have to say that I've been inspired by their work. I have just been engaged with their leadership and the promise for the future that they have been moving forward with. I am truly grateful, students. I want to say that you are leading the path for the selection of the new school name, for the new mascot, for the colors. This is tremendous work. And you've done it with integrity. You have done it with a sense of responsibility. You have made me proud. And board, I want you to know that they have done it with such excellence. If you were there, and some of this you've seen video clips, it makes us all proud. And so with that, it was important that our board president and I and cabinet wanted to do something special in recognition of the work that you have done. And so I want to just first say that we have something special, and our board president and Mr. Lopez will be speaking to you in just a moment. But to the community and the audience, the work that our students, your children, have been engaged in, they will now be on the next few days sharing what they have been engaged with their peers in the building. And the Board of Education is going to ask all of our students to engage in a a vote, an electronic vote that will occur immediately upon their return to school in January. That vote will allow 2 top recommendations that will be given to our Board of Education for a final selection. But I have to say to you students, you have come up with some dynamic names. You have come up with some wonderful colors that I'm ready to break forward with. And you have some mascots that I could fly away with also. And so with all of that, I guess I just have to completely say again, I am so proud. And so with that, I'm turning it over to our board president and to Mr. Lopez, who has done tremendous work with you. And to the board, I have to say that I was a part of the introduction with the students. Mr. Lopez has been very, very important as he has moved through the rich conversation and the guidance with our students for some of these very, very important recommendations that they're going to be providing to you.
As we all know, on many occasions, it takes a child to lead us.
Yeah.
So we have 40 ambassadors, or 42 ambassadors. And we as a board are very proud of each and every one of you. And for the parents who work with us in this community, great expectations. The best is yet to come. Believe that. Embrace that. It is up to us as a school community, to these 42 ambassadors and the rest of the students that will be moving into the one high school, to embrace those highest of expectations so that great things will truly happen for you as your lives zigzag across time and experience. We have to hold the highest of expectations and believe in the power of possibility thinking for all of our students and ourselves. Through our culture, through the climate in which we live, work, and play, through the students' visions and their dreams, their culture and their climate form the backdrop against which their dreams come to life. And we have to provide all the possibilities we can to enable them to develop into the best students and citizens possible. Together, again, together, as a community, we can forge the most powerful partnerships that helps unlock the dreams of our children's future in this rapidly changing world when we strategically focus on their tomorrows by preparing them today with passion and excellence and, again, high expectations. No child will be left behind when we have great expectations for the future and believe that the best is yet to come for Southfield Public Schools and our students. Their future is in our hands. At this moment, I'd like for you to join me in making this upcoming school year and the school year that they're working on next school term come to life for each child with imagination, innovation, and excellence. Again, together, through the power of possibility thinking, which is in all of our hands, will this district continue to be great and move on to greater heights. At this moment, when I call your name, when Mr. Lopez calls your name, I'd like for you to come up and accept your certificate and then shake the hands of your student reps as well as the board members.
Samaya Abdul Rahman. Jalen Adams. Is Jalen here? Tyler Armstrong. Princess Atave. Tori Barclay Lewis. Asia Bates. Lauren Bentley. Kayla Bertrand. Andrew Blackman.
Thank you.
Aaliyah Body. Brianna Boyd.
Thank you so much.
Get to walk around. Valerie Byers. Drill Calhoun.
Hey, you gotta get me that. So I'm right there. Yeah.
Amanda Clayton. Jeremy Cooper. James Darby. Madison Elkan.
I am so grateful. Thank you.
William Flood.
I am so grateful. Thank you.
Michaela Gatson. Nicholas Germany. Leah Grigsby. Shannon Harper. Trevor Harrington. Carmela Hobson. Camila Hobson. Same thing. Janai James. India King. Where's India? Zaire Marthel. Cameron McEvans. So let Zaire come up first. Stedman Moore. India Pleasant. Carmen Quince. Amanda Rutledge. Nakia Smart. Shayla Smith. Kevin Smitherman. Elijah Solomon. Mina Thompson. Tyler Washington. Leah Webb. Dejel Williams. And Ryan Williams. Okay.
Hi, sweetheart. Thank you.
What's your Aaron Springer. Adrian Springer. It's Adrian Springer, I'm sorry.
It's actually Adriana.
Is there a student's name that I did not call that is here besides Adrian? We do apologize, young Mr. Springer and Mrs. Springer.
We'll take care of that.
And now will the parents please rise to be to be acknowledged. Be acknowledged. Please, guardians, grandparents, aunts, uncles, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please remember, great expectations, the best is yet to come.
She went to K.
Very good.
Next, we will have Miss Alicia Bird.
Is she here? Oh, yeah.
Yes, come to the podium.
Yes.
Ms. Bird is a special education instructor at Brace Letterly, K-8 school, and she is being recognized for receiving her national board
yes.
certification.
Thank you.
I just want to Can I add a little something here? Alicia, I just want to share that I'm so thankful. I'm just so pleased with, and for the community, the amount of work that this teacher has put into a process to receive national board certification. And I have to let you know, Alicia, we were discussing all of this in our instructional cabinet this morning, and we're going to put forth another effort to make sure that we help support more teachers like you to move forward along this pipeline also. She has done a tremendous amount of work that has received not only reviews in our district, but external reviews. She has taken content tests, and she has watched videotapes of herself and analyzed those videotapes so that she can demonstrate an understanding of how to move instruction for the children that she is teaching. I am forever grateful for you stepping up to that pledge, and now you are part of a cadre of teachers in our district that we call National Board Certified. So I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. Good evening. As stated, I'm Alicia Bird, a special education teacher at Brace Letterly. I just want to say that I started this process over 3 years ago with one video of my classroom. I sent it in, crossed my fingers, and hoped for the best. And I was given some feedback from the evaluators, which I took into my classroom, put to action. And once I saw the new changes my students were making, all the improvements in my instruction, all the improvements in the student learning, I said, okay, I have to finish this process.
Right on.
So it took me 3 years, and I received the Literacy and Language Arts Certificate. As I have a background in literacy as a literacy coach before I've worked, and as a special educator, I just wanted my students to be able to read for themselves. That's one of the things that they struggle with. And so just all the feedback that I've received through this process, it has just changed my teaching. So I'm forever grateful, and I want to thank my Brace Letterly colleagues, my administrators from Brace, Dr. Wood for her moral support, but she also lended some financial support along the way. So I'm appreciative of that. So thank you for this recognition.
You.
I appreciate it.
And thank you. We would now like to recognize Ms. Edwina Hill. Ms. Hill is the supervisor of state and federal programs, and she has received her doctoral degree of ministry from the United Technology Seminary in Dayton, Ohio.
I just want to also add that we are an educational system, and we wish to celebrate all levels of further study and progressing deep study. And so I just want to share with our parents and our community and our board that Edwina is our state and federal supervisor, meaning she's over all of our Title I, Title II, Title III, and she is very responsible. She has an accounting background, and she brings the richness of all that into our Division of Instruction. And she is a wonderful asset to the division and a wonderful person, and so we want to celebrate and thank you.
Thank you. Cabinet members, Superintendent Dr. Wood, I just want to say thank you, and a special thank you for Dr. Wood and your moral support and your help. Thank you. I received my, like she said, Doctor of Ministry degree, and from the United Theological Seminary, and usually you get that degree when you want to research social concerns. And seeing that, you know, I work for the district in state and federal programs, you know, we have social issues that we deal with. So in order to understand that a little bit more, that's the reason why I chose this path. And I just want to thank everybody for just taking time out to acknowledge me, and have a wonderful evening.
Ms. Hill, Ms. Hill. Around. And Alicia, can you come around? We want to shake your hand as well.
Thank you so much.
We will now have the report of our student board representatives. And tonight, I will start off with Ms. Ginyard.
Good evening to the board members and to the entire Southfield and Lathrop Village community. I would like to begin your charger report with congratulations to our girls basketball team. Our Lady Chargers are ranked #1 in the state. I would also like to and 22 in the nation. So congratulations to our Lathrop basketball team. I would also like to congratulate our newly inducted National Honor Society students, and thank you to Mayor Kenson Siver for speaking to our students. We are very proud of our Chargers. The Scholars Plus and IB program induction will be this Thursday, December 10th. The Fine Arts Festival will be held on December 16th, and SL's dance team's final fall dance concert will be this Friday, December 11th in the auditorium. 42 students participated in the Princeton Review Practice SAT this past Saturday. 23 DECA members are in the final stages of preparation for district competition, which will be held in Allen Park on December 16th. A few DECA members took a trip to the Palace for a sports entertainment workshop this past Friday. They are also working with Project Manhood in an effort to gather clothes for Oakland's SOS shelter. They will be taking gifts and celebrating the holidays with them on December 18th. Student Congress members are currently holding a canned food drive from now until December 10th. Along with the 5 families who received Thanksgiving baskets loaded with food and other holiday goodies, Student Congress members adopted 3 families and provided them with everything on their Christmas lists. They are now preparing for the Charity Week with the Special Olympics, Pennies for Patients, and the American Heart Association as their focus groups. They are also preparing for State Conference and the OAA Leadership Conference, where 3 of 10 Southfield Lathrop students will be presenting to other schools at the OAA Conference. NHS and STUCO members worked with the Salvation Army, ringing bells and collecting donations for the holidays. NHS will continue ringing the bells throughout the entire holiday season. They also did a canned food drive and a clothing drive in partnership with Cass Technical High School. This Friday, students ages 5 to 10 are invited to NHS's Holiday Swinter event. There will be rotations with lots of fun holiday-related things for them to do. Come out and enjoy the holidays with NHS. Lastly, on your Charger report, the Southfield Lathrop football team hosted their final football banquet, closing out the season with smiles and appreciation for their hard work this season. The varsity girls basketball team are 1-1 at the beginning of this season, and the boys basketball team will start their season off this Friday against Canton High School. The first boys swim meet is this Thursday against Troy Athens. Congratulations again to our Lady Chargers and our new NHS members. This has been your Charger report. Thank you.
Very good. Our next student representative, Ms. Boyd from Southfield High School.
Hello to the Board of Education, Superintendent, Administrators, staff members, and community. My name is Brianna Boyd, and here's your Blue Jay report. Southfield High School students just completed their second card marking of the school year and are looking forward to adding more students to the honor roll. On December 3rd, my birthday, the music department and Mr. Kuhn delivered an outstanding winter concert. The concert included performances by the choir, orchestra, and concert band. Southfield High would like to thank all those who showed up and supported our talented Blue Jays. That wasn't all for the music department. The marching band took their show on the road and performed at the Berkeley Holiday Parade. This is always a great season-ending event for the marching band. The football team had many players honored this off-season. Juniors Lorenzo McCaskill and Eric Eldridge were both nominated as Honorable Mention All-State by the Associate Press. Lorenzo and Eric were also named Dream Team, All Oakland County, and All Metro North. 3 other Jays followed them on the All Metro North list: Cameron Tucker, Dylan Wynn, and Brendan Brown. There was also a flock of Jays on the All-Country Honorable Mention list: Joshua Pickens, Timothy Brown Jr., Tremaine Cole, Aaron McGarn, and Adrian Springer. Congratulations. The Lady J basketball team has started their journey to repeat as league champions. They have started out 2-0 with big wins over Redford Union and Chandler Park Academy. The Lady Jays are playing their second home basketball game tonight versus Lincoln Park. Other winter sports such as wrestling and boys basketball will start their season with their week with the wrestlers hosting Chippewa Valley and Troy tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and the boys basketball team hitting the road this Friday. National Honor Society has begun their application process for new members while organizing a hall decorating contest for the holiday season, involving all Southfield High groups such as Principals Council, Student Congress, Scholars Plus, Robotics, the newspaper team, and the Blue Jay Cafe. I would like to thank you all again for giving me this wonderful opportunity to represent my school to the Board of Education. It is an honor and privilege to serve in this capacity.
Thank you very much. Our next student board representative is Ms. Spears from Southfield Regional Academic.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Linda Wood, central staff, and administrators, Southfield schools, staff, parents, students, and guests. My name is Danae Spears, and I'm your student board representative from Southfield Regional Academic Campus. Out of 120 applicants, Dwayne Johnson, a current senior, was one of the 18th youth selected to be a regional youth intern in the Michigan Roundtable for Diversity. Dwayne will continue his internship throughout this academic year and summer. Darnell Wallace, a sophomore in Mrs. Eccles Johnson's English class, received an acceptance letter to have his essay published. Creative Communications is a national writing and poetry contest that allows students to have their essay published. On December 4th, Mrs. Hensman, Mrs. Gales, and Mr. Giebel took a group of students to a field trip to Schoolcraft College. The college tour focused on the following careers: culinary, sound recording, and medical. SREC art students are competing for $2,500 in the Made by Milk sculpture contest. Please go to the Made by Milk website, click on See Entries, look at the high school category, and vote on our alligator. Voting ends Friday, December 11th. Today, Project Womanhood is proud to announce its membership and eagerness to plan club, school-wide, and community activities. Just to give you a preview of our upcoming events that are occurring later this month are Shop with a Cop, our annual blood drive, and a grand reopening of Michigan First Banking. In closing, I want to share with you that as a part of our counseling department's strength-based counseling program, Shamari Nobles and I say a motivational quote over the PA. When you have the opportunity to visit our school, you will see a motivational wall we created using our daily motivational quotes and quotes from staff and students. Maybe you too could start your own motivational wall and become inspired. Wishing everyone a happy holiday. Have a good evening and thank you for your time.
Very good. And last but definitely not least, Mr. Bird from University High School Academy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Royal Bird, and I will be giving the Eagle Report for UPrep and University High School Academy. Starting with on December 4th, our Student Congress, we had our annual leadership night. We had over 200 kids in the school, which is a lot because we're actually really small. 200 kids in the school partake in leadership night. We had 5 different team building and leadership workshops. I was able to facilitate my workshop, which was communication and inclusion, so that was a lot of fun. But they had other workshops like teamwork and things of that nature, so we can just sharpen our leadership skills, and the clubs and organizations were invited to attend. All of the workshops were student-led, and the grade level meetings were also student-led. And to conclude the event, we had an all-school scavenger hunt, which was really fun as well. On December 5th, this past Saturday, we had our examinations for the upcoming school year, well, next school year. We had over 250 students apply to the university, and they were able to take the test on that Saturday. So we are awaiting those results. Our NHS induction ceremony is on tomorrow, December 9th at Michigan First Credit Union. And NHS just concluded their Vista Maria clothing drive, and they raised hundreds of shirts and pants and shoes for students, well, for kids in need. On December 10th, our student congress we're going to have the honor of taking part in Adoptive Family, and we get to meet the 8 children we adopted this holiday season on Thursday, which would be a lot of fun. On December 11th, our NESB organization is having a skating party and fundraiser at Bonaventure. Tickets are still being sold, and they are $11 if anyone is interested, and if you are, I can get you more information. On December 18th, our student versus staff and alumni, we will have our student versus staff and alumni basketball game. I'm not playing. Our sophomores are still taking financial literacy classes. And on May 14th, as I said at the previous meetings, I've been asked to reiterate this every time. On May 14th, we are having our marathon. I have flyers too. Our marathon for lupus awareness, and we encourage everyone to attend that as well. If you want to register, you can go on the little website right there, and you can register. You know, it'll show you everything to do from there. But thank you, and have a wonderful holiday. I'm Royal again, and this is the Eagle Report.
Very good. Let's give all our student reps another round of applause, please. Very good job. And if some of the students have to leave, we understand. For homework purposes, you may depart at any moment in time. I'm not rushing you out. If you want to sit and listen, that's great too. I'll now turn this portion of the meeting over to Dr. Wood.
Thank you, Board President. I'm just going to share just a few words with you this evening, and I'd like to just start by saying this is just such an exciting and festive time of the year, and we have holiday parties and concerts and Christmas cookie sharing and all of that. But as we embark on this holiday season, I just want to place on the hearts of our parents here, our community, that it's important to reflect on all the wonderful things that we have been given and that we have. And it's important to spend time with the people in your life who are dear to you. And those relationships and all of our relationships to each other are so very important. So with that said, I just wanted to remind our parents and our families that it is very important that we connect with you. And I am making a plea at this moment. Sometimes I hear that we send out a lot of district emails and all of that, and some parents don't get it. And I need your help, and I need your help by ensuring that you stop in with your school office and make sure they have your correct phone number, cell phone number, correct address, and a correct email, because I don't want any parent of any child to miss the important information that we have to share. Just an example of yesterday. We had a little concern at MacArthur, and at MacArthur, there was a little extra smoke generating in the boiler room. There was no fire, but just smoke. Something was going on with that boiler. But we had to evacuate the building. And it was so wonderful because we have crisis procedures in place. And so we have cabinet discussed real quickly. We had buses to come over to MacArthur, but we wanted to make sure every parent was notified. We sent out 2 notifications. And I would just hate for any parent not to get the important notification. So help us by ensuring that you are well connected and informed. And that is my report for this evening. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin.
The items from finance are contained in the consent agenda.
Good evening. The personal action report is also contained in the consent agenda for approval this evening.
Good evening, board members. We have 2 reports under curriculum and instruction. The first report will be delivered by Director Pam Bard for special services, and the student services report.
Board.
Good evening.
Cabinet, community, staff. I have another gem for you tonight. You want to come up, Aretha? Did you know that communication starts before birth? The capacity to communicate, the ability to recognize the mother's voice, to hear noises, and even after birth, the infant can recognize the face of the mother or other family members, but so often communication is damaged or it doesn't develop at a rate where it should. So when we have parents come to us because their child cannot communicate at a level that is efficient, and so often this impacts learning. We have speech pathologists in the district who help students with communication difficulties. We have 9 in the district. I have one gem here, Aretha Bradley, and she will walk you through on what speech therapy is all about.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Linda Wood, cabinet members, student representatives, parents, and students. My name is Aretha Bradley, as Ms. Bard so graciously introduced me. I'm a speech therapist in the district. I cover 3 buildings. One is Brace Letterly. And at that building, I am responsible for providing speech and language therapy for students with moderate cognitive impairments. At Adler Elementary, I do the whole building, K-5, and I also am privileged to work with the students that are new to our district that came in July, and those are students who were previously at center-based programs, Wing Lake, specifically, and Cloverdale. And so I came with several goodies this evening to kind of demonstrate to you what speech and language is all about. Oftentimes, we think of a speech therapist as working with students who have difficulties with articulation. And by that I mean working with students who may have a difficult time saying red rabbit. Instead of red rabbit, they may say wed wabbit. That's one aspect of my responsibilities as a speech pathologist, but there's so much more to what we do, especially in this district where we are now offering programs for students for all. And so I spend a lot of my time working with students with autism spectrum disorder. And I think, you know, we as a community, we're starting to see autism really touch our lives with families and friends that we know, a friend of a friend, or even our closest family members. And so one of the things we look at with that population and those students who have even more significant challenges is how do we get them to access the curriculum? Because we are, you know, we're responsible for teaching all of our kids no matter what they look like and no matter how they come to us. So with that, I want to demonstrate to you, and I want to use some of the board members in a little demonstration as to, you know, how do we reach those students who are nonverbal? How do we get them to make a request? How do we get them to make a comment? How do we get them to seek information? Because we know that there's something inside. It's our job, and it's not just my job. It takes a team approach. It takes the teachers, it takes the paraprofessionals, it takes everyone to have a hands-on approach as we work with these students. So, Ms. Bard, if you could hand out. I have some low-tech things which she is going to pass around to you. And what she's passing, that's our core vocabulary, and that's like a new research-based communication method that that we're using now to get students to make a request, make a comment, or seek information. So in front of you on the board is 32 words. 32 words that you could probably use to make 300 communication messages. So we use this during shared reading or guided reading with our students, and so it takes us to use a variety of tools in order for us to really reach our kids. So if I could say, with you using nonverbal communication, could you make a request to each other? So in front of you, you've got, so if you want to make, can you say, my turn? You see, mine turn. Or I want more. Then we could seek information by saying, what's that? We could also make a comment, yucky. I like it. So that's one of our low-tech tools that we use on a daily basis because we have to ensure that we give students communication opportunities. So that's one aspect that we use. Another tool that we use, more high-tech. And if you forgive me for not being in front of the mic, but I think I talk a lot. So
She does.
Another tool that we use, this in here is an iPad. And so an iPad can be adapted to create an alternative form of communication. So with this, the student would, just like you have in front of you, the same core vocabulary words, except it has voice output. So I could say, I want more. And then,
I like it, I want more.
I'm sorry, I touched another word. I like it, I want more. Okay? So we use this with the students doing shared reading and guided reading. And so we know that with this is like the beginning stages of our kids, the kids that we work with. And this are our nonverbal autistic kids. Thank you. It's our moderate cognitively impaired students that I have at Brace, and then our students who are at Kennedy Learning Center. Now, I also want to show you when it comes to participation, our students that we have that are at Kennedy Learning Center specifically, and especially our students who are wheelchair bound, those are the kids that are here against all odds. They are here against all odds, and we as educators are responsible for providing access to the curriculum for them and to participate during activities. So one thing, this is a switch. And if you could activate that switch. So she's activating the switch to, and we would look at this as cause and effect. So the more you touch that, the more you make this go. The more you touch that, the more you make it go. So it's cause and effect. So some of our kids are in wheelchairs. So we would take this switch and adapt it to their wheelchair so that, let's say they don't have range of motion, we would place it here, and the student would, we kind of figure out as a team what the best method of access and participation is for that student. So this could it could lay on the table, or we can mount it to the wheelchair. That's one method.
And what will they learn by doing that?
Well, cause and effect.
Okay, cause and effect.
So cause and effect. So this is for our most severe students. Most severe students is, they're at that level. So that's our level 4 students. So just understanding that if I touch this will make it go. If I touch, so it's cause and effect. And then another tool that we're using that's more low-tech is a voice output device. So this is just a single switch voice. I picked on you.
Okay, that's okay.
A single switch
Very interesting.
voice, I'm sorry, make sure it's on, voice output device. So you have something that you want to say to me. And so I would like for you to activate that, please.
I don't feel well.
Okay? So oftentimes, as parents, when we have students who are nonverbal, one of the things that we hear the most are from our parents is, you know, I don't know when he's not feeling well. I don't know when he's hungry. So it's our job to provide and put in place those augmentative, alternative forms of communication.
So there's more than one statement in that particular.
We can program this to, I can record, I just recorded, I don't feel well this evening, but typically what we do in the mornings with our students when they come in is instead of us, we say, hello, good morning, everyone, because we have voice. But our kids who are nonverbal, they don't, this is their voice. So we'll record good morning, and we'll record have a good evening or goodbye. You know, at the end of the day, beginning of the day, we record whatever we want to do during a specific activity. We may even put a particular targeted core on here.
Okay.
That's one method. One more and I'm done.
Very good.
We have another high-tech device, and my girl that was sitting here in the front was quite excited about our blue, the blue one that I just put on. But one thing that we know with these kids is that with technology comes money. It's a lot to educate these kids, but it's so much out there for these kids. So one way we are getting them to access. So I use an iPad every day, all day. As a speech therapist, this is my best friend. So for those students who have difficulty with range of motion, one thing we can do is, this is called a Bluetooth switch. So I would plug this into my iPad, and I'm sorry, I'm not wearing glasses this evening either, so. I would plug this into my iPad, and this would allow the student to access the iPad with the switch. So I have apps. There are switch accessible apps, whether that's in literacy, whether that's in whether that's in math skills, you know, just number recognition, letter recognition, you know, words, simple words. So I would plug that into the iPad, plug the switch in, and this would give the students the ability to access an app with the iPad. So this is more high-tech. But we use a variety of tools in order for our students to participate in the curriculum and have access to the curriculum, because access is very important. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions?
Thank you, Aretha. As you see, part of special education is helping students access the curriculum through communication. And so often when there is a disconnect with communication, there's also a disconnect with achievement. So we want to ensure that all of our students, regardless of what level they're functioning, they can achieve. Thank you.
Ms. Barr.
Yes. So it's been a while since I've seen Ms. Bradley, and you know, speech pathologists and reading clinicians and those folks who I guess might be thought of as auxiliary or ancillary.
Ancillary.
Yeah. Wow, I don't even know where that came from. That was so anyway, the point I'm making is it's so many parts that go into it, and I think now is as great a time as any to remind our community, our listening viewers, that IDEA and grant funding and making sure that the state of Michigan, our federal government is putting resources behind those things. She said low tech, but I'm sure it was high funding in terms of just having the equipment on hand. And so as board members, all we can do is just urge you to always keep those folks who mandate things, keep them honest and say, oh, well, did you help pay for that? And so that's my little spiel on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So board members, our second report will be done by Sandra LaPerriere, who is the principal at Stevenson Elementary School. This is the quarterly report that must be done for Focus School according to the state of Michigan. So Ms. LaPerriere.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board members, Dr. Wood, Cabinet, and community. Thank you for coming tonight. I am Sandra LaPerriere. I'm the principal at Stevenson Elementary. And this is our Focus School Progress Report for covering the period from September through November of this school year. As you know, we are required to update the Board of Education, the parents, and the community on the progress that we are making in closing our achievement gap between the highest achieving and lowest achieving students at Stevenson. Our goal is to continue to focus on improving that achievement gap, initially identified in our bottom 30%, which resulted in our focus school designation, as well as obviously any other students that may need additional support. As we continue to provide that research-based intervention and best instruction, we are hoping to improve educational achievement of all students as well as the bottom 30% and continue to provide that rigorous instruction. So I wanted to also ask Ms. Szynski, who is our district data director. She has helped me out with a presentation tonight because I think that she wants to also provide some information about where we are this school year.
Thank you, Mrs. LaPerriere. So I just want to recap for you about focus school status because it has kind of stretched out in its its existence. So just a little recap. Stevenson became a focus school based on the MEEP, and MEEP is an old term now, MEEP taken in the fall of 2013.
Yes.
Okay, so we were informed about this in August of 2014. During the year of 14-15, there was no MEEP given in the fall. And then we switched to the M-STEP in the spring of 2000. Am I getting my years right? I feel like I skipped a year. In the spring of 2015, we took M-STEP. So normally in a focus school designation, after one calendar year, we would have taken MEEP in the fall of 2014, and based on those results, if we had closed our achievement gap, we would have been removed from the focus school status. We would have still done certain things and been monitored in certain ways for additional years, but we would have had that designation removed. Because there was no fall MEEP, they did not remove schools from that designation, and so they've kind of made it into a cohort of schools that were made focus school during that designation. So instead of being able to redeem ourselves after 1 year, we are now on this list as a cohort until the accountability results in the 17-18 school year. The 17-18 school year. And the reason why that is stretched out so long is because part of students making adequate yearly progress with school, they can be proficient on their state test, or there are other ways then, and one of the ways is called Safe Harbor, and that's a 3-year averaging of their results. We won't have 3 years of averaging of the new M-STEP results until the 17-18 school year. And so we continue to be on the focus school report, and we continue to implement best practices and monitor students and monitor student achievement. But I wanted to explain to you that it's not something that we will necessarily be off of a list next year, because there's not adequate data from the state, the new M-STEP assessment, that would allow us to be removed from that list. So as we report and going forward, we will be sharing MAP assessment data with you as we have in the past. When the new M-STEP data is unembargoed, we can share that as a baseline, but again, that's not something that can be compared actually back to the old MEP testing. So we're kind of in this holding pattern as far as this accountability status is. However, we want you to know that we continue to implement best practices in the building and monitor data and achievement as we move forward. So that just gives you kind of an encapsulated view, because I know there have been questions in the past about when will we be off this status. And because of the way the state has restructured that accountability window, we're kind of in this limbo land for a little while with this.
Now, what about the children, the 30% that also schools to be in this focus group? Where are they now? Was there improvement in their scores?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So the third grade class, the class that was third grade, when we were when Stevenson was designated as a focus school, is now the fifth grade class. So we continue to monitor and look at their achievement as they're moving forward to make sure that they're growing and getting as much support as we can give them.
So at what level are they though now? Are they, what?
It depends on where that student was, where they were testing at that level, what their growth and achievement, and because as we get to in a couple more slides, every year we have a new bottom 30% as well. So right now we're talking about 103 kids that we continue to monitor, and that number changes as each year rolls over.
Yeah, I'd like to just interject also that each year we are providing support and interventions to these students, but we have to also be reminded that the MEP test was administered for the last time in 2013. That was the year that data captured those 30 children. There has not been another state test until the spring of 2015, and those results have not come out. So we have nothing really to compare apples to apples. We're always going to be comparing apples to oranges. But if we were to look at other interventions and the MAP assessment as another interim assessment that we use here in the district, providing you with insight that will provide some gauge of how those children are doing on that assessment. But we can't go back and compare them MEP to MEP. There's no way we can do that one right now.
And I recognize the report is still yet to be had, but I think it's important to chime in, since Trustee Robinson made a comment here, that it doesn't quite seem fair, and again, I guess I'm talking to the community here, that, and through the board president, of course, that the state of Michigan would do something like such as this in 13, put schools on lists such as this, and then, oh, by the way, there's no way for you to rectify it, improve it, trend data, any of it, until 17, 18, I think you said. And so, again, these are those moments where you as the voting body, we have to hold these folks accountable for being, quite frankly, and you can quote me any source, a buffoonery. So that was my one thing. And then, out of 100%, mathematicians, correct me if I'm wrong, there's always a 30%. Am I missing that? If everyone's passing and everyone's getting 90 to 100%, those 90 to 92.5ers are gonna be in the bottom 30. It's the most ridiculous measurement, and I'm sorry, I'm glad I'm not you, Mrs. LePerrier, or anyone who's being put under these structures that really, you can't show improvement in their eyes, in the state of Michigan's eyes.
I so appreciate that insight, but I also want to assure the board and cabinet that I do take this very seriously. You are right. No matter where your percentages fall, you're always going to have a bottom 30%. But we do look at that very carefully, and that is in our next slides. Our staff is always disseminating the data and identifying really quickly based on classroom assessments, MAP interim assessments, where and who those children are. So we have been doing quite a bit of professional development. The Math Talk Moves is professional development that we started with Oakland schools, and it's really just getting into deeper understanding in math and using math discourse and talk. So the kids are a lot more engaged in the classroom and they're having conversations so they understand the concepts behind the math. Mrs. Szynski is also helping us with the tools within the MAP data. There's a lot on the learning continuum and things that the teachers can do with the kids to help them, as well as looking at the data to help inform their instruction. So they're doing a lot of differentiation and small group interventions, and that MAP data is very instrumental in that. We're also utilizing our Division of Instruction professional development facilitators, Keisha Hill and Angela Gloucester-Taylor. They're here at Stevenson quite a bit, helping the teachers, giving whole group and individualized help to the teachers with support. And then we're also doing a lot of intervention data. We look at pre and post-test assessments. We're using classroom formative assessments, and we're examining that 4 times a year at least, if not weekly, to guide their best practice instruction. So it is something that you're going to see a lot of me as I continue with these board reports, but I just want to assure you it is an ongoing practice at Stevenson. So the next slide is kind of a graphic that Polly came up with because I don't have that creative brain, but I just had all these numbers that I wanted to share with you. So just like Representative Charles said, you're always going to have a bottom 30%. So when I did the math, this year bottom 30% came out to be 103 students. So we looked at where are those students and how are they being serviced with extra interventions and extra support, either in the classroom or in pull-out instruction. So all the students are on this platform, and that blue platform at the bottom represents that they're all getting extra classroom support. And what that looks like within the school day is there's small group instruction with the teacher, and then the students are moving throughout the classroom in different activities, but the teacher is pulling small groups to work on special concepts through that MAP data that's showing them that they might need extra help on. And that's in math and reading. So all of our students are receiving that support in that bottom 30%. We have several students, though, almost all of them, that are getting hit twice. They are getting extra support from either their support services special education teacher, which is 30% of that bottom 30%, if that makes sense. So 28 out of those 103 students are special education students. 37% of those students are Title I pull-out interventions. So they receive extra help from our Title I teacher every day. Then 28% of that bottom 30%, 26 students, also some of these students may do more than one of these things as well in that second platform. They might go to the literacy coach and receive extra help with reading. So we have a lot of students who are really being intensive, receiving that intensive targeted instruction as well. So thank you for, Polly had the vision of what this should look like, so I could kind of show you that. But I really wanted you to see that we're doing a lot of targeted interventions with those students. Did you want to say more about that?
No, I was going to go on to the next slide. So because this report covers September 2015 through November 15, we've only had one MAP administration for this year. So as I looked at the data, I thought I could make a pretty chart for you out of these numbers, and it really wouldn't tell you much at all. So I gave you just this small table of numbers because this is our benchmark set of numbers for the fall. And so this is what we will be comparing our winter testing, which takes place in January to, and then our spring testing in June. And what we'll be specifically looking at this year are growth changes in the mean RIT at grade levels. We're going to be looking at changes in the standard deviation within each grade, and so I've included those numbers on this. And we'll talk more about that later when I have some changes to show you, but the standard deviation begins to give us an idea of how the achievement level of the students might be moving and how it might be grouped. So we'll be able to talk a little bit about whether what we think when we get that second set of numbers. We're also going to add a couple new things in to talk about this year as we go into our reports, talking about percentile growth changes for students and also school conditional growth percentiles. So those are things that I haven't talked to the board about in the past, but they're new metrics that MAP is giving us as part of their really voluminous suite of reports and data and so on. And so we've done some work with the principals and staff so far on that, and that's something that as we move forward we'll be sharing with the board as well.
So I just wanted to continue to thank Dr. Wood and Mr. Lopez and the cabinet for supporting Stevenson as we move down this path, and as well, thank you to the board. I realize with horror that I'm wearing absolutely the wrong color this evening because all I want to say is go green.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our reports.
Okay.
Question.
Have a question? Go ahead.
Yes, I do have a question. I know that it was mentioned that the number of students, there's going to be a different number of 30% every year. My question is, how many students this year, in comparison to last year, has it gone down, that bottom 30?
Certainly. There's a couple things that are on the table. One is that the state is requiring us to trace that identified group of 30% from 2013. So we're talking about that 30% right now. Okay. But in terms of another group of 30%, we have not had another state test since 2013. And so when we receive the results from the MSTEP, which will hopefully be coming very soon, we'll then be able, with guidance from the Michigan Department of Education, to determine what that new 30% is. We haven't had a state assessment. However, we have had district interim assessments, such as the MAP. And it's a different kind of test. But in every school, we know those students that are needing a little bit more support, but it's not the same kind of calculated number as was identified in 2013. And I can provide, I don't have that information with me right now, but we can look at how students are the reports and the results that are coming out just with the MAP assessment from last year. We look at how the students performed in September and how they performed in the spring results, and we can start to get some sense. But it is still not the same kind of determination that occurred in 2013.
And with that, we'll move into our Head Start report from the Vice President.
Board, you received the supplemental to this prior to the meeting, and we can go with the next slide, which is just sharing that. I cannot believe I still did not change October to November. Like, I looked at that a million times today. Nonetheless, we'll press forward. For the reporting month, which would be the month of November, 217 students are currently enrolled. 158 are currently on the waiting list and 25 drops. The next slide is great food for thought, and I decided to color code a little bit here where we just showed some improvements. So the fish room and the tiger room, kudos to both of those rooms because they improved from their scores of last time. And there were some, at least 5 or so rooms that actually declined. And so, of course, I didn't want to call those folks out, but certainly you want to make sure that the ADA for your classroom and then your school will be 85%. Now, you can see the turtle room was at 96.15, which is just great attendance for the month of November. Now, the next slide will show us the child adult care food program, meals served, and the one thing that, because everyone can read those numbers, the one takeaway that I have is that folks are bringing the kids to school for getting them in time for breakfast, which is a great thing. Those numbers indicate to me students are coming and staying for the whole day, so that's great. The personnel update, we hired one new teacher, our Dylan, and there are still a total of 3 vacancies to fill, 1 Head Start teacher and 2 GSRP teachers. The next slide will also indicate that there are only 3 hearing screenings needed currently for children, 3 hearing screenings. The other 2 are good to go. There are 19 children who are requiring IEPs and 15 Head Start, 5 GSRP, and great, there are 0 speech referrals that have been submitted in the month of November. Many of you all were involved last week on the 3rd and the 4th with Ellen Chavez from Region 5's Head Start, coordinator for the federal government. And so some of the takeaways were she thought that the child-adult interaction at Bussey was very strong, that team building with staff was very strong, and that the classrooms looked good. And if you've learned anything in education, you learn that even if you're perfect, they'll find something to shed light on. So continuous improvement, right? So they want additional mental health supports for the building. So the 5-year strategic plan and the self-assessment are all in progress and moving along at the rate that they're supposed to. The RFPs, 22 home-based slots, 8 center, I should say the RFP upcoming, the one that's due, I believe she said Monday, Mr. Joyce, we're asking for 22 home-based slots. It apparently is a lot cheaper or less expensive to service families when you can go to their home as opposed to having to buy Pampers and bottles and cribs and all of that. And so 8 center-based 2-year-old slots and then 34 additional full-day slots, which will amount to a full classroom. Yes. So that piece concludes Ms. Hill's report. Regarding the budget, thank you again, Ms. Stankovich, for the images. So we've got $1.6 million as far as the budget for Head Start for our program. You can see the breakout there, 80% federal, 20 from in-kind, local, and program support, and the filtering out here with the Head Start families and community. If you look at the next slide, the federal portion of the budget is, in terms of percent spent, 27.7% has been spent. The balance remaining is $954,728.17. The next slide shows us the budget results for the in-kind, which breaks it out with the district's portion of 69%, the families 22%, and community at 9%. And Mr. Joyce and I both commended the in-kind increase that Ms. Stankovich shared with us on Monday morning, that $53,000 was an increase of $53,000 towards our in-kind. So whatever rock we were able to get that community involvement or parent involvement or family, or, all of those things, you all deserve the credit for that. So with that, it concludes the director's report and financials for our Head Start program.
We will now move into action items, and these are items requiring action by the board. I ask for a motion to open and approve the consent agenda.
I move that we open report 5432, personnel action report.
Support. Support.
And properly move and support it. Are there any questions regarding the personnel report or any concerns about the meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll ask the secretary to call for the vote.
Okay, Ms. Charles?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Next, I'd ask for a motion to open and approve Report 5433. That's the approval of the 2015 Superintendent's Evaluation.
I move that we open report number 5433, the superintendent's evaluation.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. And then I will read something for the community. On October 14, 2014, the Southfield Board of Education, in collaboration with the superintendent, agreed to implement a new superintendent evaluation system. The board, again in collaboration with the superintendent, chose the School Advanced Evaluation System, a well-thought-out process based on best practices in education. School Advanced was co-developed by the Michigan Association of School Administrators and the Michigan Association of Supervision and Curriculum Development. The evaluation tool is also supported by the Michigan Association of School Boards. On December 1st, 2015, the Southfield Board of Education evaluated the superintendent's performance. The superintendent provided examples of evidence of practice and artifacts related to priority goals mutually agreed on by the consensus of the Board of Education. Dr. Wood has effectively addressed district goals this year and excelled in the area of systems alignment. A copy of the summary rubric that we use will be available to view on the district's website as required by state law. The board is highly optimistic about the future of Southfield Public Schools. We look forward to Dr. Wood's leadership in the coming year, leadership that continues to deliver high-quality instructions, management oversight, and improved operational efficiencies that successfully address the challenges we face as a district. And with that, I call for the secretary to call for the vote.
Okay. Ms. Charles?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes,
Unanimous.
thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, it's official. I will also ask that the board please remember to take a look at the document that I completed for her personnel record. And if you don't see any changes or you concur with what we discussed, because we discussed it right there that night, she provided those points to us. I took what I thought was the most rich, the most productive, the most area that gave us the necessary means for us to do the evaluation that we did that particular night. So please take a look back and just respond back. If you don't have any changes or concerns, respond back. I'd appreciate it. With that, information items. These are items that do not require action by the board, and you can take a look at it. That's our bill summary. And as I always allude to our vice president, if you take a look in your packets, I think the bill summary, excuse me. Yeah. Total disbursements in the past 2 weeks. $7,243,000. And you can see the breakout in that area. So it costs to educate your students. And we don't mind educating and providing the necessary instructions that are required. Public participation. You heard me read this earlier. So only those persons with concerns related to the school matters.
You skipped the purchasing report.
Oh, the one item in the purchasing, it's in the packet. The one item in the purchasing report, which we do not have to, is the, it's an informational item, is the underground storage tank repair and testing at JWE bus lot, and that was in the amount of $13,500.
And if I may, by informational, it means we don't have to be asked as a board, but it doesn't mean that it's not important and it's not expenditures that we have to account for.
Thank you. Again, public participation. Only those persons with concerns related to school matters may participate during the public participation portion of this meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will listen to comments but may not respond during the meeting. Comments may be referred to an administrator or a superintendent for follow-up. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention persons by name. Complaints concerning employees should be brought to the attention of the school principals or other administrators before coming to the board. Your cooperation is appreciated. Well, happy holidays. We do not have any green cards. That's good. But every now and then, green cards can be good as well, instead of always being negative. But
Yeah, that's true.
appreciate it, appreciate it. I'll now move quickly into board matters. And this is where individual board matters can speak on anything related to board related or the school, to this school district. With that, I'll start with Ms. Trustee Smith.
Well, I'll keep it short. I will just say good evening. Thank you all for coming and staying and
Happy holidays to you.
Trustee Joyce?
Yield.
Trustee Lewis?
I yield also.
Okay. Mike, I'm gonna save you for last. Mike, hold on just a minute, I'm gonna save you for last.
Okay.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes, I just want to let everyone know that last weekend I attended 3 CBA classes that were taught by Michigan Association of School Board. And I just want to highlight a few things that I learned which were exceptional. CBA class 252 concerned media relation, and that was so apropos because in our last meeting, we communicated about board communicating with media. And they brought out 3 highlighted things that we all should know when communicating with the media. First one is never lie. Second one is shut up when you don't know the answer. Third one is choose when to talk to the media.
That's
And the fourth one, speak only for yourself. And the second, another one is board president speaks for the board. Superintendent speaks for the district. That was good to know. And that should clear up a lot of things that we discussed last week. The second class I attended was CBA 327, which is about ethics in action. And we had a very good teacher, Mary Kerwin, and she explained to us what ethics means. Number 1, using best practices, following the law and board policies, adhering to your board roles and responsibilities. School board members should honor the high responsibility that membership demands. School board members should demonstrate respectful relationship with other members of the board. A school board member should maintain desirable relations with the superintendent of schools and other employees. That is crucial. School board members should maintain a commitment to the community. That is also crucial. The last class I attended was CBA 341, which concerned data first. Very interesting class, and this class consists of 5 different classes, of which I've taken my second one, and they taught how important data is, and what kind of information can be retrieved from data. And one of the most important things was how data can be organized and presented to boards and to the public. The nature of data used by school boards in their governance work, and questions the board members should ask about data. Always question the data that is presented to you so you can get a full understanding. So when you go out to the community, you can communicate to them intelligently. And that was the end of my 3 classes, and happy holidays to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Charles.
My comments this evening are geared towards the Computer Science Week that we're all a part of. If you didn't know it, this week is Computer Science Week in the US of A. And why is that important? Because as I have stated before, technology, and if we want to look at it as STEM as a whole, and I guess my side note here is I'm really talking to the young women. So guys, boys, go ahead and lace them up. You don't need to hear this part. But for young women, I want to speak to parents, or if you're a 7th grader, a 6th grader, or an elementary school student, and encourage you in this Computer Science Week not to give up on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We come from a very diverse community. We do have some who have, and we have some who have less. And what you can do to change your family's legacy, their future, by sticking with STEM. You can have access to jobs that you never even knew existed. You can work from wherever you want to. You can earn great income starting in the 6 figures. It's a world out there for young women in technology. And so I just want to encourage everybody this week, if you see a young woman, like this young lady sitting next to the lady in the Michigan hoodie there, encourage her to stay involved with math, make math fun, and I'm really excited for the future for young women out here. So that is my board matter for this evening.
Okay. I'd just like to say happy no, I haven't forgotten. I'd like to say happy holidays as well. Nicole, On behalf of my wife, I'll be bringing that check that I always bring at this time of year for the Southfield Foundation, for celebrity readers and the reading program. I'll bring that in tomorrow. I want to say to the board, this has been a tough year, board, for us. It's been a tough year, but I think the foundation is there. The foundation is there. I appreciate all of your support throughout the year, by supporting me through the ups and downs that I've encountered, and I appreciate your vote of confidence as you did last year, and elected me to sit in this seat. It's not easy sitting in this seat. You will learn, the next president, that it's not easy to sit in this seat. There's a lot of things that goes on behind the scene to keep the district moving and keep us moving forward. And I'm not one to take that job lightly. So I appreciate again the support. Now, Mr. Poole.
Thank you. Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's interesting, the Southfield community, because we left here in June for vacation. And I thought I could get as far away from the community as I possibly could. And I ran into people from Southfield in Vegas, and San Francisco Bay Area. And I figured on the way home, I certainly wouldn't run into anybody. Had a layover in Houston, and I ran into another person. It sat right in front of me, so there's no escaping what we do here in Southfield Public Schools. But it's all good, it really is. And one thing I want to do, I want to take us back to 2010. A young man that I met. It's interesting we talked about STEM, because I met this young man over at Levy Middle School, and he was a man on a mission. This guy was, we went for parent-teachers conference, and you know, you kind of go around to meet with all your children's teachers. This man was right in the middle, talking to every parent he could. I'm doing this, I'm gonna build this band, I'm gonna do this, blah, blah. Never had a band before. So he grabbed me, he didn't know who in the world I was. Mr. Poole, I'm building this band, we're gonna do this, that, boop, 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 boop. So, came back to the board, and we had some things we had to do to make this happen. And thank God for Dr. Teague, Dr. Wanda Cook-Robinson, myself, and a few of the other board members that kind of saw in this teacher the potential at a time when these students couldn't even play an instrument, had never played an instrument. So he's going to do all these grandiose accomplishments in 1 year. He's going to get them instruments, teach them how to play, teach them how to march, and enter it into a competition. You know, this young man did that. He did it, and I know it because my daughter hadn't played a piano. And we've got a baby grand in the house. So he got them instruments, taught them how to play, and entered them into a competition. First year. Now, this is a middle school, okay? They came back with 3 trophies. And it was in Orlando, Florida. And if you know anything about marching bands, it's probably the most competitive part of the country. You want to enter a competition there. But more importantly, they were a middle school band. Now, let me fast forward to last week, about 2 weeks ago. I was at the Thanksgiving Day Parade. Great seats, right outside Orchestra Hall. Had an overhanging seat up at the DSO at the Maxim Fisher Performing Arts. And who comes down the street? The Levy Marching Band, the Marching Jaguars. Now, I know music, and I'm not biased. That was the best sounding band in that parade.
It was.
That was the best sounding band in that parade.
We got several compliments on that.
Yes, we did.
I marched with them in it.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So, and again, this was a middle school band. These are awesome babies. So, I'm going to read you the bio. This is the official thing, okay? See how close I was in terms of my experience with this young man and what he's able to accomplish from 2010 to present day. The Levy Marching Jaguars Band of Levy Middle School in Southfield, Michigan is an inclusive music program consisting of 200 6th and 8th graders. They have students with special needs in all of their music ensembles. Over the last 5 years, they've attended the music festivals in both Orlando, Florida, and Atlanta, Georgia, the 2 hottest states to compete. In 2010, their first trip was to Orlando, in which 97 students attended. They returned with 3 first-place trophies. Middle school band. And that was during a 5-day trip. In 2011, the Jaguars went to Atlanta, where they were successful and won first place. Again, a middle school band. In 2012, in 2013, and 14, they returned to Orlando, bringing back 26 trophies in total in various categories. This past April, the Jaguars attended the Atlanta Music Festival, returning with 3 first-place trophies in marching band, percussion, and drum line, or dance line. The band students perform at least 25 times per year. These are middle school students. The Levy Marching Jaguars have been invited as the only middle school to join other bands, i.e. high school, college, university, military bands, and professional bands from around the United States and Japan to perform next December 2016 at the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor in Hawaii.
Yes.
Over 100 band students, parents, and staff will travel to be a part of this memorable event, paying tribute and honor of our past, present, and future military personnel through the gift of music. Levy Marching Jaguars have made great strides academically, musically, and will continue to grow with the support of faculty, staff, parents, and this community. The band students have risen to a level of great accomplishments and academic achievement, using music as their guide. I'd say let's give it up for the Levy Middle School Band. And lastly, this is volunteer work. Anyone want to come out and help us out? We'd love your help, especially the monetary type, okay? Some of us on this board also double back on the Southfield Public School Foundation. And we're a nonprofit tax-exempt organization, and we like monetary gifts. So in this season of tidings and good cheer and being charitable, think of your Southfield Public Schools Foundation. I'd like to make a donation to the foundation tonight, and I'd like to do it in the memory of the late Angela Smith Williams, the wife of our board president.
I'd like to piggyback on Mr. Pooh's report regarding Levy Band. They do have a GoFundMe page for the Hawaii trip, so I encourage you to, if you have some pennies, please go on their website and GoFundMe. They'll take any donation that you can give them. And also, I was a member of that marching band in the parade, and they were absolutely awesome, phenomenal. So if you missed the parade, you missed a treat.
You did. Thanks, Trustee Robinson.
Mr. Poole, thank you very much. And again, board, I appreciate all the support. Announcements, future board meetings. Wednesday, December 9th at 6 p.m. we have our special board meeting. That's the Head Start Joint Governance Meeting at Bussey. Saturday, this Saturday, we have a study session, begins at 9 o'clock. Tuesday, December 15th, myself, along with Trustee Charles and Joyce and Smith, we'll be at student hearings. And Tuesday, January 12th, will be our next regular board meeting. With that, call for a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported. I declare this meeting, last official presidency meeting, adjourned.